beautiful women, great women, beautiful women, great guys, great Americans.
So it's going to be President Joe Biden and President Donald Trump for the remainder of the show, it appears. We have an entire lineup and bucket to get through. This is one of those moments we will never forget. Oh, there's the lovely Heidi, everybody.
Oh, hey. What a great lady. I talked to her backstage, and wonderful women. The tits are real. Saying her tits are big, like I touched them, and great tits. That's the thing that we've lost in this administration. Where are the American tits anymore? 4 years ago, there were American tits. Now there's no American tits. Mexican tits. Streaming up the border. No one's stopping it. No tits. No. One shock and you're dead. Can you believe it? It's never unimaginable what's happened to this country. We're fine. We're fine. Hey, I smell her tits too. They're great. Everything's great. We're fine now. We were fine then. We're fine. Hey, you're the center. I can smell her. I can do it first. Joe, you're an idiot. Please stop. Some stickers. Joe, everybody see?
So we're going to watch comedians do 60 seconds. Oh, God. This is unbelievable. We're going to try to stick to this format tonight. We're going to try to do an episode of Kill Tony. Even though I could watch you two talk about smelling fentanyl tits all night. Let's get to it. 60 seconds uninterrupted going to your first bucket pool tonight. Mind you, these guys have no idea who's on panel here. They get wrangled from a bar across the street. They come out. So keep a lookout for their reactions. Comedian doing 60 seconds today. Make noise for Matt Sturm, everybody. Matt Sturm.
I'm not from Texas. It's fucking hot here, all right? I'm from Vermont. It's cold there. When I first got here, I wasn't used to it. You step outside, you feel like Arnold in Total Recall when he's dying on Mars. Just, you know, I'll have to fucking ball crackheads and rattlesnakes just to go to Whole Foods. I don't even get to shop at Whole Foods. I just look in the window like a fucking hot food section pervert, looking at the mac and cheese, just like, fuck. Nothing rotisserie chicken, you bitch. Fuck. Nah, man, I'm too poor. I shop at Target. It's weird, yeah. It's the only place you can get like a Spider-Man graphic tee and like 6 pounds of brisket. It's a weird combo. Yeah. I've been coming different guys. Guys, we usually come like 3 types of ways. There's the pathetic way. That's the way I usually do. They're kind of like, you know, they go like, I'm sorry, fuck. Like, that's a weird, you know, it's embarrassing. I don't know. And then there's the other way. For some reason, like, we do the opposite. We turn into, like, Thanos from the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, Thanos is not fuckable. He's more like a rapist energy. There's, like, a better purple thing to fuck. You can fuck, like, Grimace or something. Hell yeah.
All right, Matt Sturm going over his time at 1 minute 15 seconds. A lot of references there. How do you feel like that went, Matt?
Oh, okay, Tony.
It's okay, according to you.
It was not. It was. You should be embarrassed about it. I would. Not good. Not good. It was the first thing we agreed on. That was dog shit.
Okay, Matt Sturm, how long have you been on stand-up comedy?
About 8 years.
About 8 years. Oh my God.
I should say less.
Wow.
Damn. Where's your dad right now?
He died.
Who? You said, where's your dad right now?
He died.
What?
He's alive. He's in the city, New York.
To New York City?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
What a wonderful city that is. Great city now. Homeless. This guy's ruining it. There's a lot of fake dead dads right now.
What do you mean by that?
You say a dad died and he goes, alive.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fake dead. Red Band hit me with something.
Okay, you don't.
Yeah. For Red Band, Jesus Christ. I'm talking to you over here.
So Matt Sturm, you've been doing stand-up for 8 years. What do you do for a living? How do you support yourself?
Well, I recently got a job at Maggie Mae's across the street, working the door over there.
Okay.
Do some over there, stand up and work the door.
Working the door at Maggie.
I used to work at Caroline's in New York before it closed and shit.
Uh-huh.
That was fun.
Okay.
All types of small businesses.
It's true that did close during the Biden administration.
Whoa. I got tons of black friends.
That
Over there. Doesn't matter. And the business.
Bitches is on the business.
What I say?
The bitches is on the business.
There it is. You got it.
okay. Matt Sturm, what else do you do with yourself when you're not doing your door job?
Well, I like to, look at bugs and lizards and shit outside. I like build terrariums sometimes.
Jesus Christ.
You find a lizard or a fucking cricket. There's not much to do,
Wow.
Yeah.
You have a lot of work to do. You should stop collecting bugs and get a job. I mean, what are you doing? What are you really doing? Most jobs right now. We got the most jobs. You can work here. You can work outside. You can work inside. You can work upstairs.
I don't keep the bugs. I don't like the bugs.
What do you do with the bugs?
I just inspect them. I'll view them like a safe distance. Observe what kind of bug it is.
Are you retarded? Why do you do that? Why do you do that?
Maybe. I'm trying to figure that out.
It's fine. We got jobs for retards too. We got upstairs jobs. Downstairs jobs.
Dental?
Sure.
Oh yeah. Alright.
What's your love life like, Matt Sturm?
Pretty non-existent.
Last hookup you had, where was that? How long ago was that? Wow.
It was like 5 months ago or something. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
So you got pussy fine?
You could say that.
For a guy who collects bugs, frankly, that's not bad, huh? Woman in Connecticut, the bug guy. And now she's right now, she's at home going, I fucked that guy and he collects bugs in a jar. Do you make the bugs walk when you fuck her?
I have. It's better that way.
Did you hear that, Red Band?
Congratulations. You pulled out of the bucket. Wow, you caught it with the side of your neck. Look at that.
That neck folds.
There you go. Matt Sturm, ladies and gentlemen. And like that, the show has begun. You see, we're done here. Though the only slow moments tonight are going to be the 60-second sets these people across the street are dying and hoping for. Hey, y'all. This podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your kids with a stranger when you go to the restroom. Sure, they're probably not kidnappers. If you're looking why would you ever take that risk? You're can be connected with unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, etc. Your online data is not secure. Any hacker on the same network can steal your personal like passwords, logins, or credit card details. Much technical knowledge to hack hardware is needed. A smart 12-year-old can do it. Plus, your data is valuable. Hackers could pay $1,000 per person on the dark web. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet.
Tony, it would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1,000,000,000 years to get past ExpressVPN encryption. Plus, it works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure on the go.
And on the go. ExpressVPN when I travel. We're going to Madison Square Garden very soon. I love that my data is secure in every different country I visit while on tour. So, secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Kiltony. SSVPN.com/Kiltony and free expressvpn.com/Kiltony. Ladies and gentlemen, you need a straw, Mr. President? Is that what you said?
I need a draw. The turtles.
Absolutely. Okay, your next comedian doing 60 seconds goes by the name of Bruce McElderry, everybody. Bruce McElderry. Here we go. Here comes Bruce, everybody.
Chinese called the Japanese slur?
Huh?
What do the Japanese call the Chinese as a racial slur? Fucking short Chinese. I'm transeconomic. I was born poor, but now I self-identify. So white trash. I call my only pair of long pants my pants.
Alright. Bruce, hold on. Yeah, hold on to that microphone, Bruce. Let's just jump right into it. You started talking with the microphone 4 feet away from your face. And then proceeded to. When did you write those jokes? Bet. You last place in the fantasy football league or something? You had to come on Kiltony? What made you come here today?
I've been a huge fan for the last 2-3 years.
Love it. You ever do stand-up before? Excited to make your debut here tonight.
Have you watched the show?
How do you think this is gonna go?
You've seen
That's a good question. How did you think it was going to go?
Mediocre.
Do you have more jokes you didn't get a Mr. President joke by?
One more white trash.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm so white trash I can't snap.
Open with that one. That's the one.
You look like you sold the last guy.
Where do you live? Austin, Texas. You're born and raised here?
No, from the Midwest. Somewhat retired.
Okay, what did you do before you retired? Did you develop some software that made you enough money to retire?
And just enough to get
And what is the software?
like business. Nothing anybody.
Who was the president when you sold this software company?
Trump.
Of course it was.
to develop things and create anymore. Is this why you retired?
I was in regulatory. I was fired immediately.
We love regulatory, big regulatory. Under my administration, there was plenty of regulatory, and now, where's the regulatory? Everybody looks around and says there's no more regulatory. Oh, hey.
President Biden, would you like to respond to the claims that you
We're plenty of regulatory. We got it all. Hey, how when's the last time you took a shit, huh? What's your name?
Bruce McElderry?
You always dress like this? You wear any pants?
I have one pair.
When do you wear them?
When I'm super special.
Like what?
When I get married.
Fuck that. He's saving his pants for marriage, and I think that's extremely American.
Mr. Biden did the whole audience. Okay. Bruce, you said you're saving the chance for marriage. You have a girlfriend?
I got married again.
Oh, you did. You got married again. So you've been married twice? 3 times you got married.
Honestly, that's not that bad. For a guy who likes to watch women change.
Who doesn't want to watch women change?
On the internet. Watch them change. Your wife changed into the afterlife. Hey, how much sound effect, Ruby? Perfect. Take that. Your red-nosed reindeer. What, you think you're drinking a bucket of Mountain Dew? Listen to this guy. Joe, you can do nothing for me. I would hurt you. Everyone here knows. I would beat Joe's ass so badly, frankly. Yeah, give her a...
Got him. Okay, so Bruce, let's go through some of these marriages. How old were you your first marriage? And how long? Wow, jeez,
That's a great age. Your dad, the way he did. Look it up. You're going to be very, very surprised that this man shot his daughter. Do you believe this? Until she was 13. Family.
got married at 17. How long did that marriage last? How old was the girl that you married?
19.
She was 19. Technically, you were being statutory rape.
It was awesome.
For a couple of years. It was awesome. Wow. Where did you meet her at? But you were both in high school.
She was in the parking lot.
You said a couple of years before you got married? What do you think about this?
Great. What's your name? What did she do?
She works at the bank. Out of Illinois.
Where's that at? Oh, yeah, no, I've been there. I can't been there. You never went there. Meningitis, Illinois. Joe, you've never visited the Midwest. Everyone knows that Illinois loves Donald Trump.
That is.
I wish I had a joke there, but I'm getting into character too much. you want? That's what you want?
How long did that first marriage last? And how did it end? Right. I had a feeling that the 19-year-old woman marrying a 17-year-old, she cheated on you? Who did she cheat on you with exactly? Do you know?
A couple of people that I did not know at the time.
How did you find out that she cheated on you?
The computer.
Right, you're a fucking software engineer. That'll make your hardware turn into software real quick. Finding out that the woman that you're married to is fucking everything in that area. Like,
How many of them were black is the real question is.
that was my next question. Were any of them black? No. Okay, so how old were you when you got married for the second time? I think a ballpark would be fine here, Bruce.
24.
24. And how old was the girl that you married when you were 24? 24. Okay. And how long did that marriage last?
5 years.
5 years. How did it end? She's a whore.
No.
No.
Very nice.
Very nice. How did it end? Just mutual?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Mutual differences.
I don't believe you.
Different things. You want a kid.
Kids are great. When they turn 13, you can shower with them.
She wanted kids. You did. You went pulling out in spring on her. It's your answer. It's your answer.
If you come on this woman,
Why didn't you want to come inside? Where did you prefer to come?
I would come in her mouth and come in your ex-wife's mouth. Of course you would. You're coming to American mouth right now. You're exactly right, John. I'm coming on their back like an American. You're coming in their mouth like some...
Wait, no.
Give me a rip, man.
Oh, an elbow.
There's one elbow. There's one elbow.
Okay. All right. So, Bruce, the third marriage, how old were you when you got married the third time? 3 more times than people are getting married nowadays. How old were you for the third one? Last year. Trademark not speaking.
I've got a good feeling this one's going to work. I hope. I'm joking. No chance.
This one wanting to settle down too? Did she want kids? Okay. I'm going to give you a small joke book, Bruce, and congratulations. You got pulled out of the bucket. You were here on Sunday. You were here. You were here. 30, everybody. A lot of bombs tonight so far with the 2 U.S. presidents. I guess that's fitting. A country that said, oh, there's a straw. Whoa, Mr. President, what are you doing with the straw? Oh, is that how you use it? Oh, no. You want me to pull that closer? There you go. Okay. All right.
Connell usually does that.
Next comedian out of the bucket goes by the name of Cannon Miller, everybody. Cannon Miller is next. Who knows? Could be a star.
Why is it that mentally disabled guys just love getting naked? Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but they just love taking their clothes off. And I say that because I was at a Boy Scout camp when I was a kid. And we had this mentally disabled kid in our cabin, this albino kid. He was super sweet. But anyway, he goes to the shower, and we hear him yell for help. And we're like, oh, God, like, let's go. And he's like, still, we got to help him out. We open the stall door to the shower, and then there he is, just handling his package right in front of us, just really going at it. And I'll never be able to look at a white snake the same ever again. But anyway, we were like, I'm not expected to handle it. So we go, and I tell the scoutmaster, go make sure, see if he needs any, like, actual help. And I sat there and I thought about it. I was like, scoutmaster alone with a naked minor. And so that's the story of my first threesome. And that's my time.
Okay, done. 55 seconds in. Throwing the mic into the mic stand. Cannon Miller. One more for Cannon. Cannon, grab that microphone. Put it up to
Gotcha. All right.
Hi, Cannon. How are you? First time doing stand-up?
Yeah, about 60 seconds into my career.
The answer was yes.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Hi, Cannon. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
How far did you drive to get here today?
13 hours. I'm actually in for the week. My brother's getting married here on Friday.
Hey, wow.
Yeah.
From a real big.
Yes, sir.
13 hours.
Now, this retarded Boy Scout, how big was it, would you say? Good question.
Big, folded in half.
So this retarded boy had a black cock. How did this happen? Is it possible that a retarded boy had a giant black cock and he saw it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I didn't really think about it that hard. I just saw it, and I don't think I'll ever forget it, unfortunately.
Well, you're not gonna, because he's here tonight. Let's bring him out.
When you say you'll never be able to look at a white snake the same again, what exactly do you mean? How many white snakes?
Not many. As far as I know, just the one. But I mean, an albino guy with, like I said, he was packing some heat. So if I ever see a white snake again, I may get PTSD. I'm not.
Have you ever seen a white snake?
No, just look for the band.
Absolutely.
None of this makes sense. You're incoherent like this guy.
What do you do for work?
I'm a college student, but I work at a golf course. Maintenance.
How old are you?
21 years old.
21 years old. Working maintenance at a golf course.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What exactly do you do at the
Shasta Golf Community.
Ooh. You heard of this, President Trump?
Of course I have. I'm the club champion there at the Acasta Golf Course.
No, darling.
Acasta.
How you living?
Yeah.
There he is.
Oh, this guy.
What's up, pimp? Living the dream, dog.
Never played a lot of basketball. Good, but I play
Where do you live 13 hours away to where's the basketball player?
Are you hosting someone else?
Just a moment.
Are there
This shit is so funny. One moment. I did just my. How's your day going? Are you living like a pimp? And it's so great. Now, why not?
It's like fast earlier. Just get easy. It's past 12 a.m. and tomorrow is Sunday.
One second. I'm a pimp. Everybody's a pimp. Rabbi Rothschild was a pimp. E-I-E-I-O. Do you know the nursery rhyme? Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Well, the true lyrics are Rabbi Rothschild was a pimp. E-I-E-I-O. Yo, dog. So you said it's really early there?
I'm gonna go to bed soon. Like almost 12 a.m. 2 minutes to 12 a.m.
Oh, okay.
And tomorrow Sunday, so just a short.
Well, do you know what Kill Tony is? I don't expect you to.
Yeah, I do know about it. It's when they go into stand up, and there's a guy there named Tony who sits around and lets them roast them.
That's 100% right, man. And it's fucking really, really funny.
Yeah, and just some people don't like it. Like, I'm the Asian guy who's just making out with this chick, and he makes out with all a very pimpy show.
It's a very good TV show, you said?
Yeah, it's kind of pimpy. I don't know if that's good or bad. Well, who is Chef Mario?
He's amazing. Who is he? I met him in, I think he was in Aiden Ross's stream, and I saw that he was always in there, and I know that he knew that I was always in there. And one day, I sent him a friend request, and he like pretty immediately got back to me, and he's like, "Why'd you send me a friend request?" I was like, "I just wanted a new friend," and I see that we were in a bunch of the same Discords, and he he was someone who has been in here. When he's in here, he streams some of the best television in global history. So I really like that about it. And while I've never had the opportunity to speak with him, I've texted with him, and um, he just seems like an overall really nice person. And so I don't know that for a fact, but what I do like is that he chills, he streams stuff, and I'll get to know him better hopefully.
Hosting here, like permanently.
I don't know about permanently, but we had the most amount of people I think that we've ever had yesterday in this Discord, which was like something like 7 people or something. Not including all my multiple accounts. I had to ban some people though, unfortunately. Who did I have to ban? Who did I have? Tim Tam. You know, I gave Tim Tam about 1,000 chances, but then he just started making up lies about me, and I gave him about 1,000 chances. He would be really mean to me, and I was like, okay, I'm for free speech, I understand, but you can't just go making up things about me that are very hurtful. What did he say? He said that I had been arrested in Los Angeles County for child molestation, which is a terrible, terrible thing, and that's absolutely untrue. It's a complete lie. And when you start just doing that to get attention, you're going to get banned. I can't have you just making up deliberate lies about me. Well, there's, I think he just likes to be a troll. The other guy, there's another guy who's been watching me for 2 years, and um, there were two guys like this yesterday, and they just kept one of them just keeps wanting to talk about Hitler basically, and it's like, dude, I'm not gonna just keep talking about World War II with you. It's yeah, exactly, and I want to give so many people a chance, but at the end of the day, I'm unable to. I mean, I'll sit here and I'll answer your questions, but if you keep asking me the same question over and over and over again, you just gotta understand that even I am someone who has patience that can wear thin, and if I've already answered your question and you're not satisfied with the answer, that's on you. I've provided an answer to you, and if you want, oh my god, oh my god, Frosty, I've watched this. I've watched this 4 fucking times, man. It's so funny. I sit here and I fucking laugh so loudly, and I think to myself, you what?
Like, he was like, what was it about? He was taking some guy's side or something like that. Kind of funny.
His impression is so spot on, and it may be the best impression of Donald Trump I've ever seen. When I first heard about this guy from Saturday Night Live. Do you know what Saturday Night Live is? Okay. Truthful, pardon me? No, those are two separate things. Same
Oh, yeah,
network.
yeah. Wait. Saturday Night Live is the audience and people come in and do a bunch of skits.
And it's launched the careers of some really big people like Will Ferrell, John Belushi, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Chris Farley.
Why don't you think about just joining Hollywood and stuff?
Oh, it's easier said than done, to be honest with you. The competition is really, really but even still, the competition is really, really tough. And while I've acted in plays, I don't have a traditional acting background. I have an academic background. And when it comes to being able to be a serious actor or a serious stand up in Hollywood, you have to dedicate yourself. Sometimes you have to quit your job and do it. It's like, look, I could basically quit my job and go pursue a dream of stand up or pursue a dream of acting, or I could do the same and stream my life. So perhaps in a world where I wasn't streaming my life, that's what I would have been doing. In fact, I could probably tell you this, Frosty, if I were in the same place in my life, or approximately, but like 30 years earlier, I would be camped out outside the Comedy Store in Hollywood. I mean, I've been there, and so it's not like I haven't been there, uh, just to get a little sense of it. But today's day and age, you don't need to do that. You can literally build an audience from your bedroom if you want. So, in my own way, I recognize that it is something that perhaps I would have pursued in the past, but now not so much. Especially because I never wanted to make my career in Hollywood as an actor. If anything, I'm in tech and I'm a technology professional. But it's a good question. You think it's easier said than done too. The people like Tony Hinchcliffe worked at he has his podcast now. He worked at the store for like 10 years for no money, basically. Like, it's not really that feasible for me.
Yeah.
There are some
I
other
know, the stuff you can do, like, if you have, like, I don't know, like $10K and then like direct a film.
That's the thing, and that's what Hollywood has become. The children of rich people who can live off their parents for as long as they need until they can get a job in Hollywood and get whatever they need. But basically, like, it's already a class that has been created. It's known as the nepotism class in Hollywood, where, say, you had an actor who was big on a television show 30 years ago. Well, they have a child, and they want their child to be in show business, but their child isn't that talented. So what ends up happening? That child becomes a small role on another show or something like this, when previously that would have been an opportunity for just an average Joe as myself. Nowadays, those roles are taken. And I'm not saying that Hollywood was ever easy. Um, have I have I thought about doing stand up. Yeah. But if I were going to do it, I don't know. I think I would do it in a different fashion than a lot of people do it. A lot of people, I mean, I think truthfully, I'm one of the great comedy gurus that we have in society. Why? I watch comedy or comedy interviews 24 hours a day, basically. I'm always watching people and getting into their head and learning about sets and learning about stand up and all this other stuff. So I feel like I've got a little bit of a inside track. And here's what I can tell you: people work really, really hard on these bits, and that's great, but they take a long time to develop. There are already established funny jokes out there that you can use, and you could have a 20-minute routine if you could memorize these things pretty easily. Now, I'm not saying that that's the best way to do it. There are so many different ways to do stand up or comedy. But what I see is like, at least with, let's just say, Kill Tony. If you were going to say, Rabbi, I want to do well on Kill Tony, but I don't know what to do. Can you coach me? I would say yes. You can go about a whole bunch of things. You can go up there with a song and a poem, and it could be really, really elaborate, but that's going to be hard to do. The best advice I can give you is find 5 or 6 really tight, good, classic jokes that don't offend anybody, that aren't really hard to understand, that an audience of many different people will understand, and just memorize 5 of them. You go up there, you deliver 5 simple jokes, but that get people to laugh. And a lot of times these are known as like dad jokes. Like, who came up with the first dad joke? Whoever the first dad was. But basically, like, these are just jokes that aren't really attributed to anyone. So if you find 5 of them, no one can say you're stealing my joke, because you can say this joke has been around since the dawn of time in different connotations, in different languages, in different societies. So, in my opinion, you just find 5 really good jokes. What's an example of a really good joke? It's they could I mean really they could be non sequiturs, which are just like one liners that are really, really funny. I did this thing on Kick where I found one joke that I thought was really funny, and I went on Kick to just a bunch of girls, only girls, and I would riz them. I would basically say, "Hey, I'm gonna use a pickup line on you. Is that all right?" I'd ask for their consent first, and if they said, "Yeah, that's fine," I would say, "Now here's my joke. Ready? Ready? Are you ready?" "Damn, girl, are you a haunted house? Because I'm gonna scream when I come inside." That's a really tight joke. That is a double entendre. Why? Why is it double entendre? Well, there's the use of the word come inside, meaning you can walk inside a haunted house, or it can also mean to basically inseminate you. And it catches you so off guard. You're like, haunted house, coming inside. It's like, whoa. That it's a really tight joke. So that's your first joke that you use. What's your second joke you use? I don't know. There are. You don't have to use the first 5 jokes that you find in the joke book, but you find 5 good, solid jokes that aren't really complicated, and you build your first stand up on that. You get comfortable on the stage where you know your material. You might not kill with these jokes, you might not make people cry, they laugh so hard, but you will at least make them aware that are a funny person, and you're able to deliver jokes successfully, and that's half the battle when it comes to stand up. So you take a few jokes and string them together to get a minute of material. You take that minute and you do open mics, so you get stage time. The most important thing that all these stand-ups say is you have to get stage time, and you just have to get comfortable up there. You have to get comfortable with hecklers. You have to get comfortable with bar owners or club managers, all that kind of shit. And once you're good with that 1 minute of just being able to do open mic, then you want to expand that to like 4 or 5 minutes. Then you take that to, if you can get it to like 20 minutes, where 10 of it is pretty strong and the other 10 you're kind of working on stuff, then you can start to be what's called an opener. There's like basically three types, as I understand it traditionally, three types of comedians you're going to see in a given night. There's the opener, there's um, there's the opener, there's the feature act, and then there's the headliner. So the opener is like a newer comic who is just on the road, um, basically getting experience. The They don't have to be on the road though. They could just be a local act. The feature act is kind of like the the vice president, like basically someone who is pretty good but not quite there, that they're a household name. And then the feature act, I'm sorry, and then the headliner. That's someone you should know, or if you don't know, other people should know because they're like the main attraction, and they should know what they're doing. But you'll hear a lot of times like when a guy's a when a guy's a feature act, but he'll go out as a headliner because he just needs money and the money's better. What's absolutely amazing to me, Frosty, and you should really understand this. I don't know how much you know about the American economy and the money that people get, but I just want to put it in perspective for you. What these comics do on the road is absolutely nuts. What do I mean? They will travel to the most rural areas of the United States where there's like barely a hotel room, maybe no rental car, there's no airport, there are like, I don't know, just a few hundred people in the town or maybe a few thousand. And there's a bar that has an open mic or whatever. They've got some kind of opportunity to perform. And what the comic will do, they're based out of LA. They will fly or drive or do whatever they need to do, and they will do all this traveling for like $200. Way, 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 way little money. What I'm trying to say is like no one in society except for stand-up comics would travel 2 states away for $200. It's just like the amount of gas and and plane travel and tickets and shit would just take your team. It'd be too expensive. But comics do it. A lot of comics lose money on it. It's really hard to be a comic nowadays too, because it's so expensive in LA and some of these other places that have artistic communities where you can be a stand-up. Like when you listen to how Joey Diaz did it, Joey Diaz was like selling cocaine on the side and robbing people. He always had like some kind of secondary hustle. But how rents have changed and everything's changed, it's just really, really difficult to do that anymore. Um, and you know, just how it is. But what I really want to emphasize in your mind is like, um, normally, let's say you were a truck driver and you were going to travel in some rural area in the United States, you'll make $2,000 for a week worth of work for the same amount of traveling in a car as a stand-up comedian. You'll be fortunate to make sometimes $200. So it's just like the how would I describe it to you from where you are? Okay, so Mumbai is on the western coast of India, on the Indian Ocean. It would be as if you traveled to like New Delhi, which is like, as I understand, northeast Mumbai, something like that, but like a good distance. You would travel all the way to New Delhi, which I believe is also the capital. You travel all that way for like um a day's worth of pay. It's like, why did you ever travel from Mumbai all the way to New Delhi for a day's worth of pay? It doesn't make any sense. No one else in society would make these sacrifices except someone who wanted the experience to get on stage and be able to introduce themselves to a New Delhi audience. It's just like under normal conditions, you would expect that the person would be making a lot of money, but especially when they
But how do they gain like a reputation doing stuff like that, like working in hotels and stuff? Right.
so it used to be things changed in comedy, and it's one of the things that fascinates me. And I'm really, in my own way, I'm not a historian of it, but I'm an observer of it because I've seen the transition between the comedy days of a comedy club versus social media. So back in the day, what you would do is you would be a funny person in your neighborhood, and the people around you would think that you were funny. This perhaps could be in New York, could be Manhattan, could be in Brooklyn, could be in Boston, but it's going to be a big city, and this is usually maybe like 100 years. Actually, less than that, because stand-up comedy traditionally hasn't been a format as we understand it. Really, it's only been since like the 1950s, where there's like a microphone and everything. Before, you would have storytellers who would go on the road and entertain people, and before that, you'd have jesters, in like medieval times. But the idea of a stand-up comedian with an electric microphone has only been something around for like 70 years ish. You had vaudeville. Vaudeville was like Hollywood before the invention of motion pictures, but it was less Hollywood, more New York. Anyway, um, what did entail? How do you start your career? Well, back in the days of the club, you would start in your local club. So let's say we'll just use, um, we'll use United States as an example, just because I know more cities. Okay, so let's say you were from like I don't know Utah or some like random place in the United States where there aren't any comedy clubs, or they're really far. And back in the day, there were no comedy clubs. What would you do? Start by people would think that you were funny. Okay, so let's say you get a good 10, 20 minutes down. You would go to open mic nights at different bars and different restaurants. What's an open mic night? Restaurant or bar will have an event where they have a microphone. It's just a microphone, and you go there and you can play music, you can read poetry, you can do stand-up comedy. You do whatever you want. It's just basically a way for a restaurant owner or a bar owner to get more people in the door and also to provide some free entertainment. So what you do is you find one of those places and you get pretty good. What you really want to hope for is somebody sees you and says, "Hey, come out to New York, come out to California. We want to make your career." But that really doesn't happen. Then what you have to do is, especially back in the day, they used to have these things called comedy festivals. What's a comedy festival? It's basically a few days where comedians are travel to a given city, and then a bunch of people from like managers in Hollywood or managers in New York will watch the talent there and then sign someone for what's called or what was called at the day in the day a development. So if you know like some popular comedians of like the 1990s or so, like Tim Allen with the television show Home Improvement, Jerry Seinfeld with the television show Seinfeld, um, who else? Just like big comic Roseanne with the television show Roseanne, they would get offered a contract if they did really, really well at one of these comedy festivals. So the big one, at least in North America, there are a few of them, but the big one for many years was something called the Montreal Comedy Festival, which is in Montreal, Canada. And um, everybody who was anybody who was trying to become a big stand-up would travel every year to Montreal, Canada, and do their best in front of the managers who were there. And anyone who was really good got a development deal. What did that mean? You get like a check for $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000 to start to work on your own television show, but also, and sometimes more importantly, it means that none of the competitor television networks can sign you because you've already been signed to someone. So it's kind of the dream for any comic because once you have this pile of money, you can travel the cities and you can take more risks. So that was always the dream of every comedian, I would say before the year 2000 or so, is to get a development deal at a comedy festival. If it didn't happen that way, the other real way that it was going to happen is either in New York or Los Angeles, where you would go
But
to,
then there's people who would like set up your career and stuff back
yes,
then.
absolutely, 100%.
Oh,
And what they would do, what those people would
only
do,
if you only if you go to like a place like Montreal, I'm guessing that's the same as is that the Just for Laughs place in
exactly
Montreal?
right, that's just
Yeah.
comedy festival in Montreal.
Hmm. I've seen some of that.
Exactly.
I've seen some of their stand-up. Quite good. Yeah.
I've seen they do this thing with like mime where they do comedy bits without any words. You may have seen that as well. It's very, very popular on uh, on YouTube because you can show it to any audience of any language and they all understand what's going on because there's no language involved. It's all miming. Okay, so that was traditionally the way. Well, the other way is this. Let's say you didn't get noticed in Montreal, or there was a San Francisco Comedy Festival. You have to understand as well, these comedy festivals were kind of like hit and miss back in the day. They might have been going for 10 years, and then they wouldn't do them anymore. Or maybe one comedy club owner would do a really good one for 4 years, but then the comedy club would shut down. So really things in the comedy world are so inconsistent that it was really hard to have any consistent comedy festival aside from Montreal, the Just for Last Comedy Festival. Okay, so then what happened? The other way to get famous back in the day was to get to New York and specifically also get to LA. The earlier in the century you are, the more important New York is. The later in the century you go, the more important Los Angeles is. So Los Angeles wasn't very important at the beginning of the 20th century, became extremely influential towards the end of the 20th century. New York was extremely influential at the beginning of the 20th century, still influential at the end of the 20th century, but now it has major competition. In fact, by all accounts, LA has overtaken New York, at least from a media perspective. So what would happen? You'd get to LA, you'd get to New York, and you'd do exactly what Tony Hinchcliffe did, what Joey Diaz did, what some of these hustlers in Hollywood did, where you would start to work at the store, work at the comedy store, or you'd start to work at a restaurant or to get in, get your foot in the door somehow. The key back in the day was for a woman named Mitzi Shore, who's Pauly Shore's mom. Was the owner of the comedy store. The key was to get her to see you, because she kind of was a career maker. Now there were all these rumors that you could basically get made at the store if you had sex with her. So there were all these rumors that, like, if you had sex with Mitzi Shore, that you'd be on her good list. And if you didn't have sex with her, you were just kind of going to be a regular person. So anyway, there are all kinds of when you talk about Me Too and all the bad things that guys did in Hollywood, women did some of this stuff too, and were gatekeepers for some of these movies. But
What
what
was
would
the
end
name?
Shore, MTZHORE. Her son is a pretty famous actor. He owns the comedy store now, along with his brother. So what would happen after what it is to get famous? Yeah, there's enough clubs within LA and enough open mics within LA that you can kind of get into the scene. But what you really need is to do well, do good stand up in front of agents, in front of representatives from agencies to get a manager. And once you're able to do that and somebody signs you, then you're kind of a protected individual in Hollywood. But it's very, very difficult. And this all changed with the invention of social media. So, what changed? You could overnight become a sensation in a little rural town where no one knew about you because you had a camera. You could post something on Facebook or on Instagram or on TikTok or something and blow up overnight. Never ever having gone to one of these big cities and done stand up. It's not regular. It's not a routine thing for that to happen, but it can. If you know who Hawk Tuah girl is, that girl who was on like some random TikTok or Instagram, now she's all over Hollywood on every major podcast out there telling her story. Is she a stand-up comedian? No, but she's kind of in that going from zero to hero kind of status, like many stand-up comedians do. And I can tell you, the way that now we have social media, the way that you get as a stand-up is this. You get a good tight 5, 10, 20 minutes down. You take the clips, you field these with your social media, you get a following, and occasionally you get a really good joke in there and it'll go viral. And then people will start to find out about you. Then what you do is you post to Reddit all your stand up comedy, your best stand up comedy bits that you don't want to use in your act, and then people will check out what you've got, and then you start to build a fan base. But you literally can, especially nowadays, you can be a true blue comedian without ever stepping within the city limits of the city of New York or even the city of Los Angeles for a time. Eventually, though, if you want to be a pure stand up comedian, you're going to most likely have to get on stage on one of these platforms like the Comedy Store, like the Laugh Factory, like the Comedy Works, and um, and social media changed everything. And no longer do you have to do like 10 years on the road to do that anymore. If you want, if you have something that's really funny, you can get famous within a week.
You know what I think though? I think like it's got a lot to do with uh, just being an appealing kind of normie personality, you know. And then more people see that and see that in you, and then you start kind of get assimilated into it. So then you get some sort of reputation for, for whatever you represent yourself as.
Aside from being funny, you know what I think is the most advantageous trait of a comedian? Being good looking. It's just like life. People want to laugh and they want attractive people to make them.
Yeah, yeah.
You are absolutely right, though. In the bed?